from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who's at the end of his lounge pants season. Who would have thought, like, a lounge pant for all seasons would have been this, but hopefully when you're listening to this, we're all in shorts, pants or no pants. Hopefully you're lounging either way, because it's time for Sleep With Me. The podcast. You say, what is this? Yep, you're in the right places because it's the podcast that puts you to sleep. Hey, everybody, before we get on here, Sleep With Me is built on empathy and compassion. That means being here for you. There's links to extra resources if you need them right now in the show notes. And it means supporting the members of our community, being a part of positive change. You could do that. There's links to organizations you can connect with to say Black Lives Matter, to say Stop Asian Hate right in our show notes. One of those organizations that I've been supporting is Beam. You could support them using the links in our show notes. Thanks, everybody. And, here's the sponsors that enable me to be here for you for free twice a week. All right, everybody, Scoots here, and I have a question that I've asked before. Why would anyone support a free podcast, right? Who would pay for a free podcast? And I've always had my theories. I said, well, it's because the podcast works, and the work that goes into the podcast is what makes it work. But that really, I'm like, wait a second, that makes it about me, and it's really about you. You know, the show is about you getting the support you need, and I'm checking in with patrons who do pay for a free podcast, because then I said, they say, well, it keeps me company. It makes me feel less lonely. I'm happy to pay for a podcast I benefit from. Those are some of the things I hear from patrons, but I want to hear from you. If you're like, well, I'm not sure about paying for a free podcast, go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. Think about becoming a patron if you're in a position to do so. You can listen to the podcast on a regular basis, and you want to pay for what you get out of the podcast, whether it's $5, $10, or $20 a month. Take a look at what we offer, because some people do it for the benefits. Story-only episodes at $5 a month, all intro episodes at $10 a month, compilations, all-night episodes at $10 a month, and then Ray episodes, Great British Bake Off bonus shows at $20 a month. And trying to figure out, is it more about the feelings, because you feel good, you feel like a rebel, paying for something you benefit from, or is it the tangible goods? You say, oh boy, I get all this extra audio. In the $10 and $20 feed, there's over 2,000 things to listen to. So I guess it comes down to you, because I am looking to get more listeners supporting the show on a monthly basis. That's one of the ways we're here for you. So think about it, check it out, and then let me know. Say, Scoots, nah, if you did this, I might become a patron. Or, oh yeah, I didn't realize how good it feels to be a rebel with a cause. And you can see all that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. sleepwithmepodcast.com/PATRON. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody. You know I love my Helix mattress. It's comfortable. It fits my needs. It fits my room. And if you haven't heard the great news, Helix has left the bedroom. They launched a new company called Allform, and they're already making the best sofas we've ever seen. So why should you care about Allform sofas? I mean, comfort, flexibility, long-lasting, scratch and stain-proof. But for starters, it's the easiest way you can customize a sofa using premium materials at a fraction of the cost of traditional stores. You can pick your fabric. That includes the colors, the sofa size, and the shape to make sure it's perfect for you and your home. They've got armchairs and love seats all the way up to an 8-seat sectional, so there's something for everyone. So you could start small and add on later. And that way, your Allform sofa can grow and change with you and your family. It's also hassle-free. Allform sofas are delivered directly to your home with fast, free shipping. Allform takes just 3 to 7 days to arrive in the mail, and you can assemble it yourself in a few minutes with no tools needed. And you might say, Scoots, you sound a little bit different. You sound more relaxed. Well, that is because I'm recording from the Chase Lounge of my Allform. Oh, boy. And I love my Allform. It's comfortable. It looks good. It fits my room. but it's also our family hub. We got the popcorn popping, and we're getting ready for movie night. Sophia and I are going to spend some quality time together, maybe even play a board game on the ottoman later. That's my pro tip. Also makes a great place to put your popcorn. And if you're saying to yourself, Scoots, that sounds great, but I'm not so sure about buying a sofa without seeing it in a store, you don't need to worry. You get 100 days to decide if you want to keep it. That's more than 3 months. And if you don't love it, they'll pick it up for free and give you a full refund. They even offer a forever warranty. That's literally forever. So to find your perfect sofa, check out allform.com/sleep. And I can see you there, just like me, kicked back right now. You have a sofa, you designed it, and it fits you and your room perfectly. But better than that, you got an amazing deal because Allform is offering 20% off all orders for our listeners at allform.com/sleep. That's 20% off all orders for our listeners at allform.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody. Sleep With Me is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. And, throughout May and June and all summer long, Sleep With Me is proud to join the cause of destigmatizing therapy. So if you're having a tough time with relationships, you're having difficulty sleeping, difficulty meeting your goals, if you're feeling anxious or stressed, BetterHelp counselors can listen and help. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating in under 48 hours, and it's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online. And BetterHelp's therapists have a broad range of expertise that might not be locally available in your area. It's available for clients worldwide, and it's so easy. You can log into your account anytime, send a message to your counselor. You could schedule weekly video, phone, or even live chat sessions. And BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change counselors if needed. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. I've heard from listeners that have utilized it. I know people in my personal life that have utilized BetterHelp, and it's just taking that step. And I know the flexibility and the ease of use with BetterHelp has started to expose more and more people that I have regular contact with to online therapy. So many people have been using BetterHelp that they're recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. And Sleep With Me listeners can get 10% off their first month of online therapy at betterhelp.com/sleepwithme. You have to use our link to get that discount. That's betterhelp.com/sleepwithme. BetterHelp. That's BetterHelp.com/sleepwithme. That's right, everybody. BetterHelp. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody. It's time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, the one part of the podcast I need you to hear. It's where I pop my peas, if you please. I thank the listeners who supported the sponsors, and that is really how we're able to be here for you free twice a week, are those listeners that are taking action and letting the sponsors know about it. So I want to thank April and a few other people who stayed anonymous that have been supporting BetterHelp, working with BetterHelp, for taking that steps and for supporting the sponsors and letting me know about it. Thank you, April. Thank you, everybody else utilizing BetterHelp and using our promo codes, using our links. If you support a sponsor, tag them, tag me on social media. Let me know about it. You could go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors, use the form there, and I'll try to thank you here on the Sleepy Supporter Zone. The second part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is you getting the support you need. And if you're in extra need right now, there's links to resources in our show notes you can use. It's about being a part of a community, about being a part of multiple communities, and taking action to support the members of our community. Not just saying Black Lives Matter, not just saying stop Asian hate, but being a part of change. So there's links to organizations you can connect with right in our show notes, and including one that I support, which is NAPAWF. That's the National Asian Pacific American Women's Forum. And you could go to NAPAWF.org. You could support them. You could could get more involved or you could learn more. And it's the only organization focused on building power with AAPI women and girls to influence critical decisions that affect their lives, their families, and their communities. And as a parent of an AAPI young woman, it's important to me. So go to their website, use the link in our show notes, and learn more. That's the end of the Sleepy Supporter Zone, which is now over. Oh, Mystery Bard, a lot of people help out on this show. Who are they?
Posty poster son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the legend. Also edits episodes. Kenny, Scotty, and Jennifer. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the mystery bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mr. Bard. Don't forget, the best way to keep in touch with me, to get a hold of me, is through our newsletter. That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/newsletter. Check it out. You'll learn more. And that is the end of, let's slow it down and get on with the show. Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights and press play. I'm going to do the rest. And what I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. It could be thoughts on your mind, thoughts about the present, past, or future. So anything you're thinking about, feelings, anything coming up for you emotionally, maybe it's related to the thoughts, maybe it's related to your feelings or physical sensations, maybe they're just there, you're feeling them. That's good, though. That's a really good thing that you're feeling your feelings. But I'm here to kind of slowly let those drift into the background. It could be physical sensations, could be changes in your routine or your work schedule or something situational. You may work the second or third shift. There may be something, you could have weather-related. What have I ever talked about this? Weather-related WRAs, so weather-related annoyances. I don't know if I've listed those kind of things. Like you say, wind chime. This is my personal opinion, but it's actually my personal opinion. I said wind chimes are great, except when it's really windy. And then because I've talked about my wind chime before. I think I only have one. It's no longer chiming. But I had to take it off because when it was windy, I could hear it. And he said, well, okay, wind chimes are great in theory or in a non-bed. No, it became a weather-related annoyance for me. Just, I think, because of where it was. And it's like for a lot of us, a really unpredictable noise can keep us up. But let me get back to that if I remember to. Because I want to first I got to explain more about how the podcast works. So whatever's keeping I'd like to take your mind off of that. What I propose to do is send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents. You've witnessed a few already. Meaning I'm going to get confused and go off topic and kind of go nowhere, all to keep you company while you fall asleep. Now, if you're new, there's a few pieces of information I want to give you to make you feel more comfortable. One, you might not be comfortable now because you say, what is this? This is something new and different and strange. And you may even be skeptical. And I'd say those are totally sensible places to be. I mean, this podcast, yes, it is a bit different. It is a bit strange. And so if you're not sure about it, that I can totally understand that, especially if you've tried other stuff to put you to sleep and you say nothing's worked for me. That makes a lot of sense. So most regular listeners say, give this podcast a few tries. Before, it takes a few tries to stop listening to this podcast as a listener. Usually it only takes like 5 minutes to stop listening to it as a non-listener. But just give it a few tries because we really have nothing to lose here. I'm just here to help take your mind off of stuff. And in that spirit, this is really a podcast you don't really listen to. You just barely pay attention. It's also a podcast that doesn't put you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company. I'm applying for the role of bore friend, bore bud, bore bae, bore bestie, bore bruh, bore burr. Your bore bestie, bore bud. I said all those, your friend that repeats things. So I'm really here to take your mind off stuff while you fall asleep. That's why the shows are over an hour. So you have plenty of time to drift off. You say, okay, I don't got to worry about it. I got over an hour to fall asleep. And then, what was the other part of that? So no pressure to fall asleep. Oh, also, if you can't sleep, I'm going to be here to the very end. So if you can't sleep situationally, or you're going through something, or you just can't sleep normally, I'm here to keep you company as much as I am to put you to sleep. Those kind of things work in sync somehow. So those are two things to know if you're new. The other things to know that can throw you off. Regular listeners, I already forgot what I was going to go back and talk about. And now I can't think of it. I know I went off topic earlier, but also I have in my brain, I have like an empty bucket or pail in my mind. I said, what was I talking about earlier that I was going to try to talk about again? Oh, my wind chime. Hopefully I'll remember, but our regular listeners know, sometimes I remember stuff, sometimes I forget. But if you're new, structure the show is the next thing you want to know about, because this show does not have any it does have structure, but it's a bit different. So show starts off with a greeting, friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And that's a serious part. It's funny. Like sometimes I say something mildly funny, but that part is important. So you feel seen and welcome. That this podcast is here for you to help if it can. So that's the greeting. Then there's listener support and support for the show. So, if you need some extra support right now, there's resources. And then there's the resources so we can be here for you free. Then there's the intro, which is the main thing that can throw new people off, because the intro is somewhere around 12 to 20 minutes long. And so for some people, they feel like it's part of the, I don't know. I guess if you, hopefully you don't listen to it, but if you don't listen to it, if you don't listen to it while listening to it, that's one thing. But I think some people skip through it or fast forward a bit, waiting for me to get to some sort of tangible point. And then they say, what is this intro? It just goes on and on and on and on and on like an advertisement. I say, no, this is a show within a show. It does serve a purpose, or two purposes. One is to introduce you to the show. I just do that in a very ineffective and inefficient way, because the second purpose is to ease you into bedtime. Now, you can skip it. I just went on a podcast and the person said, yeah, I start the show at 20 or 30 minutes in. I say, that's great. And that's about 3% of listeners. And some people, if you like just story only or intro only, or you listen all night, you might be, those people are on Patreon. But, you could also do it with this, whatever works for you. But those are smaller slices of the listenership. Most people, they listen to Sleep With Me, and the intro is part of their wind down routine or their getting comfortable routine. So there you are. My regular listeners, you're in bed waiting for me to talk about or see if once again, I can't remember. I had it and then I forgot. I said, I was going to talk about my wind chime, which I just almost called a bird chime because it is a bird. So the intro kind of goes on and on and on to give you some distance from the day so you can get comfortable, whether you're doing it as part of your getting ready for bed routine or your wind down routine or you're in bed getting cozy. It gives us some distance and lets us come in for a landing. So that's why it takes 12 to 20 minutes, because that's about what I've found over the years, how long it takes to ease. Because I don't know, in other situations, and I've been in this, where I'm in a hurry to go to bed, and that just never works. I say, okay, I don't have time for any of that bedtime stuff. I got to get to sleep. And I can hear some sort of cackling as soon as I say that, like a knowing cackle. And I said, well, but I got to get to sleep now because I got to get up for that thing. And I was messing around before, and now I got to get to bed. And that just, so for the most part, if I can, I want to ease you into bedtime. So that's why the intro is so long and pointless for you, and also my natural ability. Then there's a business between the intro and the show. That's just like where some of the sponsors like their business as people are just getting ready to turn in. And then there's our episode. Our bedtime story tonight will be a very special a return to a character in a new season. So it'll be just a nice little bedtime story. At a bed, this episode tonight takes place at a bed and breakfast. What better place for a bedtime story than a bedtime storyteller at a bed and breakfast? And then there'll be thank yous at the end. So that's the structure of the show. The reason I make the show is twofold. One, you deserve a good night's sleep because you do. You deserve some rest, and you deserve to be rested tomorrow so you can live your life. And the other side of it is, like, I've been there, speaking of this wind chime. So this wind chime, I have talked about it before, I think. Because when I moved, my daughter and I moved a few years ago to a new apartment, and I said, well, what are we going to get as a housewarming gift? And I let her pick out a wind chime, because finally we had a place to put a wind chime, because we have a deck. So she picked out one, and it was bamboo chimes on a carved piece of wood that was an owl. And I said, wow. Now, this wind chime, and it had rope or string instead of, I don't know what else they put on wind chimes, but if our first year here, it gets a lot of wind, this wind chime, and so it deteriorated, it fell apart. And each year in the spring, this sounds like at the beginning of an Epcot Center video, each year in the spring, we rehabilitate the wind chime with fishing line that I bought. And we replace we put all the bamboo. I think there's one piece of bamboo that did fly away last winter, or one of the winters that we've been here. But the other thing is that when it does make it through the winter, the parts of the winter it's making it through successfully, like my window just happens to be below the deck. So it is so, like, that thing is, like I said, what in the heck? Even if I close my window, I can still hear it. And I say, as much as I love you, you're driving me chimes. You're making me chimey. You're chiming me nuts. So I have to take it down. I just noticed that yesterday because when I'm recording this, it's the end of March, and spring is kind of springing. And so I was trying to clean up the deck, and I said, hey, there's the wind chime there on the ground. I said, how you doing? I said, I'd like to chime. I said, well, maybe like two more weeks. We're expecting a little more rain and wind here. And I don't want to overcommit. And plus, it's like, that's the worst time if it's raining and windy to have to go back upstairs, find, it's like something to step on to reach the hook that it's on. But this is a person that makes a podcast, a person that does, I think there's people that just fall asleep and they're like, they don't have weather related annoyances, because they're snoring through it or whatever, but I'm not that person. So that's why I make this show, because I can relate to how it feels, whether it's a weather-related noise or something else that's keeping you awake. And I'd like to help I really appreciate you coming by. I really work hard on this show, believe it or not, but because not just because I work hard on it, because I yearn and I strive to help you fall asleep. And here's a couple of ways I'm able to do it for you for free twice a week. Hey, everybody, it's time to talk about a brand new sponsor. And you know I love reading. It's part of my wind down routine. Reading is a huge part of my life. And if you've wanted to read more this summer, if you wanted to enjoy reading, or if you want to increase your enjoyment of reading, empower your inner reader with Literati Book Clubs. It's where you can read alongside the world's most inspiring authors and leaders. I mean, I've got to read along with Kelly McGonigal and Susan Orlean. I've read Clara and the Sun, along with a bunch of other people in a book club. I mean, would you want to be in a book club with Malala or Stephen Curry or Richard Branson, where they take you on a reading adventure? Well, Literati delivers their monthly book picks straight to your door, so you don't have to worry about finding a good book. You get to spend more time actually reading one. They have authors, leaders, activists, all sparking lively conversation in 12 unique book clubs where they engage a diverse community of readers from around the world. This means you could talk about Stephen Curry's favorite books with Stephen Curry. Really. I'm using the Literati app and going through a book with Susan Orlean and hearing her thoughts about it and saying, whoa, boy. And not only that, it makes it so easy to move between book clubs every month, or you could just use the standard membership to access everything and choose the books you want delivered. And I love every month looking ahead and saying, oh, what is every book club going to read? Or what are they reading this month? So maybe I'm going to check out that book too. So do yourself a favor. Make it a reading summer. Read along with me. Reimagine what a book club can be. Redeem your free trial at literati.com/sleep. So head to literati.com/sleep to learn more and read more with Literati. That's LITERATI.com/sleep. Literati.com/sleep. Get over there and let me know what club you joined. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about BROOKLINEN. So where I get my towels, I get my duvets, I get my sheets, I get my cozy on at brooklinen.com. And if your everyday has started to feel ordinary, it's time to transform it into something magical by upgrading your bedding, loungewear, towels, and robes. Step into the new season in style and comfort and get it all from one place, Brooklinen. Brooklinen was started to create beautiful, high-quality home essentials that don't have those luxury-level markups. Brooklinen works directly with manufacturers so they can bring that high-quality luxury directly to you in an amazing array of products at a reasonable price. There's something for every comfort need. And it's time for that seasonal refresh. I mean, what are your towels looking like? Because mine are plush. They are those Brooklinen plush towels. And then when I'm kicking it at the beach, I got those poppin' Brooklinen beach towels. And I'm always checking my emails from Brooklinen to see what new prints on duvets and sheets they have coming out. Because that bed is ready for me to slide into it at night or for my mom to come inspect it. So I can say, doesn't that look good, Mom? Buttery soft, breathable sheets, absorbent towels, cozy robes, comfy loungewear, whatever your need is, you can get it from Brooklinen. So give yourself the comfort refresh you deserve and get it for less at Brooklinen. Go to brooklinen.com and use the promo code SLEEPWITHME. That's one word, sleep with me, to get $20 off with a minimum purchase of $100. That's BROOKLINEN.com and use that promo code SLEEPWITHME for $20 off with a minimum purchase of $100. Brooklinen.com and use that promo code SLEEPWITHME. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's Scoots here, and it's time to introduce our new series. And I guess this is something of a reboot. I looked up the actual definition of reboot, and I said, wait a second, because gotten some great questions on a Patreon AMA about, hey, so would you ever reboot a series? And I would say that this is interesting because this is a series, this is the beginning of the series for you because you're listening right now. And in some sense, it's a character who is in the middle of a reboot. And I said, well, this is kind of rebooting the series. It's a standalone series. You don't have to have heard that. And you might even be better off hearing things through the character's eyes for the first time. And like a character, though, that I have great affinity for, as you'll find out. But yeah, it's someone that existed before, but if you're just getting to know her now, you're really in for something special and sleepy. So I'm trying to think of anything else you might need to know. But yeah, coming to you live from the outside my apartment in his own car. Still, when we're recording this, is the new agreement we have. I mean, talk about willing to do things for his art. Though I did realize I don't have any way of confirming that he's actually outside in his car. He could be at his home in his car and say he drives from Los Angeles here, which I probably would respect greatly. To say, wow, Antonio, you must have known there's no way for me to check if you're actually sitting outside in your car, zooming in to record 30 seconds of audio and not unnecessarily driving 12 unpaid hours as a favor to all the listeners. But I won't check because if I'd feel like, but so coming to you to set this up, Mr. Antonio Banderas. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for a tale. Or more than, it's time for the tale. Scooter, it's time for reboots. None of that works, but this is the first episode, so join me in listening to tales of Lady Witchbeard. I didn't like the way my mouth sounded on that one. Join me. Also, by the way, I did drive. I wish you would have told me that was an option, but I am able to make it there on all electric, and then I drive nearby and I charge my car, and then I drive halfway home, charge again, then I drive the rest of the way. But it's time to join me in listening to Tales of Lady Witchbeard. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry about that, Antonio. You know, I used to tell one of my roommates he was the last, like you could be one of the last honest. Also, you could just be. That's great. I'm glad that's so good for the environment. You're really doing good for the environment. And I'm sure there's other things you're doing, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe you're taking some calls. Hopefully you're listening to some other podcasts and stuff while you're driving, thinking, when you were thinking. Are your thoughts as handsome as I would assume they were? Anyway, it's time for Tales of Lady Witchbeard. Hey, everyone. I just want to ask you a quick question and set something up in your mind while you're there listening. If you want, this is optional imagination, but I want you to think about what if, or maybe once, one of those two things. Because maybe once you knew someone that was very charismatic, or what if you knew someone that was very charismatic, and they weren't all good, and they weren't all bad. In fact, they were so charismatic, so comfortable in who they were. They just were who they were. They said, well, I do some things that and then I make mistakes. But it was more than that, because their charisma didn't come from behave. You say, well, they're acting charismatically, or they have an air of charisma. No, you could sense in them something deep and powerful, something like unfathomable even, but that you say, I want to plumb those depths, figuratively. But when you were with them, you felt at ease most of the time. You felt protected and under their care. You felt safe. But not just as safe in a way that triggers apathy or lying around. I mean, that would be great. That's a different kind of charismatic figure, I guess, than this one. Maybe once or what ifing we're doing. Because for me, it's both. No, this particular person I'm talking about put me such at ease that I could step out of my comfort zone, that I felt that freedom, not just to naturally be me, but to take more risks than I might have taken on my own. Calculated ones we're talking about. Now, what would you give to be around that person, right? Now, you say, okay, well, something reasonable. They wouldn't ask for something unreasonable, probably, the way you're describing them. And I'd say, yeah. And you say, well, that's something maybe I'm searching for. And I'd say, same. I was searching for it. But what if you kind of fell out of touch with that person? Maybe once, and you went from a what if to a maybe once, and there was something in between those moments. And it might sound like I'm not talking about someone realistic, and I'd say, well, yeah, this is a 1 in a million, 1 in a billion type person. And you say, well, it sounds more like you're talking about a goddess or a demigod or something. Or maybe you're just projecting or over, and it's possible, that part. But no, this isn't a goddess or a demigod or, Marvel characters. Always say, wait a second, couple coming soon and not that long ago. You'd say, wait a second, You could have been, I said, well, you remind me of Lady Witchbeard in a sense. Oh, and then I said her name. But some of you might say, Lady Witchbeard, who's that or why? Should I even care? And I said, it's a great, totally understandable. And I got 2 words for you, witch pirate. And I don't mean like sandwich pirate or, hey, which pirate are we looking at? Which is a pirate with the hairy legs on Pirates of the Caribbean. No. I'm talking about a witch. Actually another character whose name I feel, Agatha or the Scarlet Witch or, now I forgot her name. Famous witches. They're all witches, right? You'd say, what if there was a witch that was a pirate? And you say, whoa, boy, I'm not comfortable with either one of those. Well, what if it was the same person I just described to you? And you were able to feel so safe that your normal, maybe even ingrained impressions of pirates and witches were put at ease. Maybe just by her mere presence, you say, oh, well, this is like... I thought I knew everything there was to assume about pirates and witches, but now I realize I was just assuming and I really had no idea. What, and that's why I'm here to talk to you tonight, because you might say, okay, but who are you? Who's talking? And, why are we here? And those are, great questions that I'm going to fill you in on. Now, I will say, speaking of words that have meaning, dual meanings or words that have feelings behind them, I want you to think this is an exercise that I didn't even know we would be doing, but I think it's to prepare you for what I'm called and what I go by. Because understandably, you may have some feelings about my name, but she won't change my name. I know Lady Witchbeard well enough. She calls me by something. And so I want to repower this word for you. In some sense, reboot it, or just offer you a picture of the word. So I want you to imagine we're in the grocery store, and we're talking the big box grocery store, you know, the ones, not the big one where you buy in bulk, but, you know, one of those mainstream ones that you say, oh, this is where the cereal monarchs sell their wares. So we're in that kind of store. And I don't know, this is a question we've never talked about before. I think, does everybody go, do I do the theme park, do I navigate a theme park and a grocery store in the same way? And I don't know. I go left and then I go in a clockwise manner. I think the answer is yes. But let's say we went into my grocery store and we did go left through the produce section. Not my Trader Joe's. This is the old corporate, you know, the old corporate goods store. If we could put artificial stuff in it, we will. So we'll go through the produce section and then we take a right and we're saying, wait a second, what do I need? And we say, well, I'm just here to kind of make an analogy and a metaphor to put you more at ease. Well, what aisle do you do that in? Well, I can't remember actually if it's because this is where I get mixed up and plus they keep moving stuff around. It could be the aisle with coffee or the aisle with fruit. Like it's like, then it could be the aisle with baking ingredients. Or it could be but it's not the cereal aisle. That's where it should be. But maybe it is, so it could be in one of those aisles. I want to say for some reason it's always near juice boxes, but I would think it would be near cereal. But definitely it will be near pancake pre-mixed pancake and waffle mixes. And we see it there. And oh, wow, I realized, well, the coffee is on another aisle, but it's also at the end cap. And then there is the mixes for pancakes and things. And then this is what we're looking for. It's comes in a glass jar. And it's something you add to things. I don't really know. Like I started adding it to smoothies inconsistently over the past 12 years because they said it's got to be good for you. It comes in a jar. And it's called wheat germ. And you get it. And it looks a bit like, it looks tasty. When you look at it through the jar, and it's not quite a powder, it's not quite a grain, it's a wheat germ. And you can even look at the back of it. I think it describes that it's some part of the wheat, it's the germ. And it breaks off, and, you know, then they separate it, and then, so it's got some stuff in there, like probably folic acid, but I'm just guessing. And other stuff you might like. So, but you say, well, there's another way to use that word. And I say, right. It's like the germ of an idea, where an idea starts. And you say, well, like, I thought the germ maybe was like the food for the seed. And they say, wait a second, it's in the grain, right? But anyway, sometimes it gets used for the start of an idea, too. And sometimes I think Lady Witchbeard gets mixed up because she thinks it's like a husk, or just a piece of an idea that's incomplete, but maybe she's right. But that's what she calls me. In the spirit of one of those two things, she calls me germ with lowercase g. But I just want to let you know that because it's said in a lovingly friendly manner, like a nickname, but I think that's what she calls. I mean, and I'll tell you, maybe you could catch how I feel when she calls me, and I feel good. Like when someone you have a crush on says your name, you say, "Oh boy, you said my name." Like even though it's not, that's my name, Germ. So I hope I could put you at ease about that. So that's who I am. Well, where am I? Yeah, that's a great question. So we're at a bed and breakfast that I work at. And it's way, way out in the middle of nowhere, out on the edge of the transverse plane. And I've worked there since long time, a long, long time. And this bed and breakfast is a place, actually, people go for reboots. Occasionally, it'll be used for the main purpose of bed and breakfast, which is a romantic getaway. And I guess I'm surprised that now that we're talking about it, that more bed and breakfasts haven't, because it had, like, here's some key things that make something a bed and breakfast. Beds and breakfast, okay. Some sort of like look that I said, well, this could be a country house or something. Normally, French doors are required, multiple pairs of French doors, which are double doors with glass. Ideally, a pair of French doors that opens up into a garden, maybe with hedges and flowers. A fireplace, a library or living room, sitting area, usually key to a bed and breakfast. Older furniture, doilies, the doily things that go on the arms of chairs, those are all traditional. Smiling couple, maybe. That's not, that runs the place. In this particular case, it is. But this one is even better. So it has the gardens, but then it has grounds because it's outside. And, so then it has a back 40, you might call it, like just open. And it has a pond where you could go for sitting or playing with, feeding ducks. In my case, giving it swimming in there. And then it has brambles and woods behind it. And then even out behind the back 40 part, a trail that goes to the transverse plane, which is not too key in our discussion here, but it is an intersection of universes that I've found my ability to access. Now, you probably have two natural questions. What do I do at this bed and breakfast, and why does any of it matter? And I say, wow, you're really making my job easy. So what do I do there is I tell bedtime stories. That's how I applied my trade. In another world, I may do it by another way, even though this exists in your world. In your time, this is all taking place in parallel with this is in our universe. I just go by a germ here and not Scooter. But so I tell the clientele bedtime stories. It's a service that arrangement the couple and I had back when I thought I was going to have a lot of romantic getaways. I think that's why I made the deal, which, gives you but chuckle, but, I don't know if you'd want to have a romantic getaway someplace you work anyway. So it worked out for the best. But really what I realized is that, I have a deeper role there, non-professional role. Well, a professional nincompoop. Once Lady Witchbeard called me that. And I'd say she's probably right because, I could take the characters out for walks on the transverse plane, and sometimes they would connect with what they need to connect with to help them as part of their reboot or wherever they're going on their journey. And the particular clientele this bed and breakfast serves is very niche, you'd say. It goes for beings, even creatures, you may say, associated with the autumn, the Great Autumn Festival, where people dress up like beings, but not necessarily are them. Those, you'd say, like friends that live in swamps or lagoon-based creatures, brides of Frankensteins, purple purple people pals. Those are the kind of clients that go there and they say, well, I've lost my, I'm just find myself eating carrots. That's it. I say, okay, well, let's talk about it. So that's where I work, and that's where we are now. Now, one of the other features is not just the main house, but there's bungalows out back, kind of lining parts of the garden for a little bit more privacy or extended stays. And like I said, one day I hope to have an office in a bungalow on the Universal back lot, even though I'd never get any work done. because I just go out to goof around and people watch with the trams that go by. And just to put it out there, like I do have, one day I would like to sit in the chair that overlooks, it's like a chair for the guarding of water. Right, overlooks where old Angela Lansbury plied her trade. I think it goes by another name of a town now. So, I don't know, just something on my mind. Okay, so there's these cabanas or bungalows, you'd call them. And in one of these bungalows or cabanas right now, rebooting, resting, R&R is Lady Witchbeard, the witch pirate, who had, I think she was once known as the Scourge of the 11 or 12 Seas. Then we had met each other years and years ago, when she was staying there on another reboot trip. And I kind of got her going on a mission. I think she was looking for a mission. That was in another universe, similar to ours historically, where I played her the song, the Neil Young song about Hernan Cortez. And then she set out to deal with Hernan Cortez before, she did just set that. She wanted to teach him some manners, and that kind of caused a lot of disruptions in most of the time-space continuum. It also resulted in me being ejected across time and space, and eventually Lady Witchbeard had to set out and collect my pieces because it was my incompetence. And so she set out to recollect all those pieces. That may be a pretty good, maybe becoming like a plot device in a lot of Sleep With Me series. But so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. But she did do that, and she returned to me. And she's been resting and R&Ring ever since. And time has passed. And at first I said, I had to take my own time. I'd been, separated across time and space in little bricks, waiting for Lady Witchbeard to come rescue me and reassemble me. And, through some magic process, I was able to be returned to who I was. And, naturally, when someone does that big a favor, there could be some resentment, or you say, well, I need a break from you because I just, spent whatever, the equivalent of 40 human years tracking you down. And so our friendship needed a break. But, I found when I returned to my regular life that it definitely wasn't the same. And I missed Lady Witchbeard specifically and in general, and how she made me feel when I was around her. Now, some of you may just to set the stage, you say, well, Scoot, Germ, tell me what it is. So you're saying she's a witch and a pirate. And I say, yes. And you say, does that mean what I think it means? I say, maybe. It means she is generally engaged in piracy and I guess this is in the grand move, not in the actual sense. Because she lives in a pirate universe, 12 Seas, different than our universe. So it's a little bit broader term with, because you say, well, you're just taking people's stuff. I'm not into that. And I said, don't worry, that's not Lady Witchbeard's game. And also, she is like, is she green? Yes. Does she have a pointed hat? No. Does she have a broom? At times, she does. Does she have a cat? No, because I'm allergic to cats, and I just realized that I may be the equivalent of her cat, so that's a little bit embarrassing. But so she doesn't have a cat, but she's got me. Great, she's got me. Does she have a cauldron? At times, but usually her ship does have a cauldron, yes. I mean, imagine if you were, so imagine there was a piracy world. And again, not, you said, well, all pirates are bad or all pirates are good. No, some pirates are bad, some pirates are good. If it was a SAT question, Lady Witchbeard is both and neither. But say you're old Rumbeard or whatever out there and you're just taking stuff. You say, oh, there's a freighter of potatoes. I'm going to go take the potatoes. And Lady Witchbeard says, those potatoes are for people that are going to eat them. And she hears about it. And she says, well, I'm going to take whatever, like that kind of thing. Imagine if you were Rumbeard and you never encountered Lady Witchbeard. And then you see her, and you say, why, I cover my beer in rum and rum balls, and we throw rum balls at anybody that, that's what we use to intimidate people. And we also yell with our mouths full of rum balls. That's what we do here on the Rumbeard ship. I said, well, that's ridiculous anyway. So so imagine you're on that ship and then you see her standing in the stern. She still wears a billowing cloak, of course, when the wind is billowing. And in addition to being an adept sailor and scourge of the 12 seas, or the 11 seas, she has a power, she's a magic user. So that's a pretty, you say, oh boy, that's not good if you're up against her. So I guess that's really all you need to know at this point, other than she saved me twice. And she also is against her. And I say, well, boy, Hernan Cortez is my favorite I'm a big fan of conquistadors. I say, well, are you studying them? Because, you probably, if you're a conquistador fan, you may be listening to the wrong podcast anyway. She conquered conquistadors. She said, no, you're not going to conquist anything. And these are in other universes, because I guess apparently, according to the Time Council, that would disrupt our timeline if she did any of that here. So that's why she's in our timeline, just resting and relaxing in her bungalow condo, where for a few months now, I got the bug and I stayed patient. I tried, first I avoided her. Then I dreaded accidentally running into her, because also the bed and breakfast people were like, what are you doing? We're going to have to find a new bedtime storyteller. And I said, is that really? You're going to find somebody else that works for tea and breakfast? And they said, maybe. And they said, also, Lady Witchbeard, when she got here, you said, put her on my account. And I said, oh. So they said, you owe us 4,000 bedtime stories. I said, okay, well, I'll be over there then. So then I was I wasn't really avoiding her, but I was still part of me was hoping I'd run into her out for a walk or something. And then as I'm known to do, then I kept taking walks closer and closer to her bungalow, and then, then not seeing her. So then walking really loud, that didn't work. Mumbling, that didn't work. Calling back, pretending to, of course I was pretending, but calling back or waving to somebody that wasn't there and saying hello when I was standing near Lady Witchbeard's bungalow. On the 26th time I did that, she did start tapping at her window because, and I waited to common, noise hours, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. So I think it was 10:01, but I don't know if she was asleep or making breakfast, but she just tapped on her window through the curtain, so I couldn't actually see her. But I said, oh boy, 26 times is a charm. So then at least I knew she was aware of my existence. And I said, okay, we've reestablished contact. So then I would do some gentle tripping. Then I was pretending to do work. I even begged the couple they said, well, we have a landscaper. And they said, well, don't. And then I said, well, maybe I'll practice some bedtime stories. That immediately got tapping because I guess she was trying to work. And then so I kept it up, and I tried to respect Lady Witchbeard's privacy. But, try to get her attention. And I was really busy. I was telling a lot of bedtime stories. I definitely felt like I needed to repay her in some way other than like paying for her stay at this bed and breakfast. And I said, well, it's been a few, been a while. So I said at least 6 months to a year longer that she'd been R&Ring. But eventually what happened was that one day, so outside of her bungalow, not that far, was like a picnic table, a couple other tables and stuff, but a picnic table with the built-in benches and stuff, and a really nice one. And that would be like I'd play drums there on the table, sing to myself, pretend to be talking in my sleep, all those tropes. But one day I went there and I saw a note there with a rock on it, and it said germ on there. It was sealed, like one of those things you see in movies with the wax seal. And it said, I opened it up and said, the assignment for germ. And I said, oh boy, this is it. And I said, I read it a few times, but then I started reading it out loud to try to get, and trying to be confused by it because I was hoping Lady Witchbeard would come out and correct me. But it was like, get me all the, this hempen rope or something and leave it. And so this went on for a while where it was like 4 planks of bark board or something. I don't know. She would get it, and then I would talk to somebody that knew what. I said, what is this? And they said, rope. And they said, hempen rope. And they said, well, anyway, here's where this is it. So I was spending a bit of my own money. So I said, okay, this is good, Lady Witch. Then I was like, I'd try to leave notes for Lady Witchbeard. It would just come with new assignments. So I said, where should I put the receipts? But it went on and on and on. And I started to get bored. But even though I was busy, it was kind of like, it felt like a little bit of, like I was collecting things. And then I was wondering what she was doing with the stuff. And one mistake, that Lady Witchbeard naturally makes is, but one skill set I have is like, okay, I'm going to have to lull, I'm going to have to use, just like I can use the lulling, soothing tones when I'm telling bedtime stories at the bed and breakfast, I got to use lulling, aloof tones with Lady Witchbeard. So eventually I fell onto the game of like, you're being too much yourself. You got to be more yourself, So I started just trying to carry out her tasks in a way like it was really like I'm trying to think. I don't know, like trying to find like these like salted something or salted fish or something. I say, okay. I don't know. I tried to act like I was really doing the tasks, and I was like a little bit caught up in it, and it was taking me longer when it wouldn't take me that long because I say salted fish. They say, oh, well, this is, because I guess the one thing Lady Witchbeard didn't know about was like YouTube. Because someplace they said, well, we don't sell that, or this is really expensive. So, and they say, oh, I could just go on YouTube and figure it out. Because there was like waxed canvas. That was another one. It did actually take me, if I had to figure it out on my own, it would have taken years. So that's what I kind of let Lady Witchbeard believe. And I'd be muttering to myself. And that actually worked. Not only after like 4 weeks, where I was like mostly watching YouTube videos, and I had my phone in Lady Witchbeard's bungalow. So I was at a distance in what you would call a treehouse, but they used to run out at the bed and breakfast, but that was like where I had been sleeping and stuff when I would stay overnight. And, I said, you don't rent this out for like, not like the room. Like I said, this is just for sleeping, this place, right? To the owners. I said, cause I don't need to be, and they said, don't worry about it. It's your place. And it's like kind of, Lady Witchbeard, I assume didn't know where it was, but my window looked on her bungalow. Just on like the where the path was and the table, not in like just a bit of her front door. So I could watch if she was coming or going. And also, like a lot of times I would imagine myself knocking on the door and saying, let's like get to the sea, like like how I wanted things to be. But so I'd be watching YouTube videos on like whatever, salting fish or like, making barrels, they say bung, like what's a bung or whatever. And finally, one time I see her door open, I see her look around and I see her like listen, and then I see her start sneaking off. And I knew I couldn't follow her without getting caught. But so what I would do is I said, okay, the first, I started noticing it was happening on the daily basis. So she was doing, and I said, well, maybe she's just going for a walk. And maybe I better make sure she's not going to trip on anything. That's how I justified it. So then I would like set up like a hideout or whatever, a duck blind, you'd call it, like along the path, and then I kept extending that till eventually, this is she was going in a long meandering way, so I couldn't follow her. But eventually I learned where she was going, which was this lake a couple miles from where the bed and breakfast is, not on the transverse plane. And she had a boat out there, a sailboat, and she would go out there and she would sail. And she was doing different roping things and moves and judging the wind and taking down the sail, putting the sail back up, like jumping out of the boat, swimming back to it, all sorts of stuff. She really seemed happy, but also very intensely focused. And, I don't know, moving the rudder, the boom and all that stuff. I was just like, okay, well, that's interesting. And then one day, I kind of got bored with it, to be honest. I said, okay, how much joy can Lady Witchbeard partake in that I'm not a part of? And then one day, I said, so I missed a few times watching her. So this one time I said, well, let me just see, she's probably done. And she was like practicing swimming underwater and stuff and fishing. And so then I saw like someone else was in the boat with her and they had like a clipboard and they were taking notes. And then they got back to the dock and the person like was even watching her dock, like the boat and writing stuff down. And then they just nodded and they got out and then they kind of were in like pantaloons or something. I said, what are they wearing? Those boots with like, they look like they got, I don't know, like kind of like pirate boots, like with buckle. I said, what the heck? I said, what are pantaloons? Are those pantaloons? And then I was like, have I been replaced by someone that has a clipboard? So then, of course, I went and bought a clipboard. And I started walking around with that. And a couple days later, like I noticed, I went out there and Lady Witchbeard wasn't in the boat. I said, that's normally a time. And then I said, well, should I sneak down to the boat? And I know what you're thinking. And yeah, I did it. But so the important part isn't that I sunk her boat and tried to go sailing and unsuccessfully went sailing and left the boat rope to the dock, but it still sunk right next to the dock. And, it was totally fine because it was right by the dock and I'm a good swimmer. None of that's important. I mean, it was to Lady Witchbeard. Oh, boy. Was it important to her? And I said, wow, you kidding me? That boat sank. And she said, how do you know about my boat? This is another conversation. You know, we're not there. We won't ever be there. She won't ever be ready to talk about it. She said, how did you know about my boat? I said, that's terrible. Your boat sank on that, right by that, you know. So, but what I did find right before the boat, as it was going down, was a crumbled up piece of paper shoved in the, corner of the boat. And I opened it up, but somehow, I don't know, when I opened it up, actually, this was part of the reason. Well, no, the boat was already kind of, I said, how did it get so many holes in it? And I said, wow, that sail could be a parachute. It really moves away. But I found this piece of paper covered in green tears. And it was tough because it was in the ye old pirate language. But what I took from it was that was kind of like there's a Pirates Guild, one, in this world Lady Witchbeard's from. And apparently you need to, you could be, it's kind of piracy in that world is like a trade. You're part of a trade organization. Piracy, this is Pirates Guild. And you become, there's levels of piracy, like you're an apprentice pirate or whatever, journey pirate, I don't know, or like pirate in charge, a full pirate. And that was I guess you got to keep up your license or whatever. And Lady Witchbeard had not done that because she had been saving me and a bunch of other stuff. And so, unfortunately, her thing had expired. Her membership in the guild had gone. And they said, well, now you got to retake your test. And I guess she, according to this piece of paper, if my understanding is correct, she had lost her status as a pirate, and she was now considered a apprentice pirate. And, despite her years of exemplary service, because of the sub-rule BCQ or whatever, I don't know. A lot of stuff is beyond me. Plus, it was wet. I was soaking wet. And I don't know if it was green tears or actually or a gift from a bird. But it said, okay, and then you're whatever, you're going to be apprenticed to this person. You're 40, 20, 40, 20, 21. I don't know. They would come to see you. And I said, oh boy, I feel bad for that person because, but then I said, oh no, Lady Witchbeard's going to be and then I started watching and then she was out of her place packing and putting potted plants out, and looking busy, her windows were open. And I said, oh boy, this is it. I'm going to lose Lady Witchbeard. What if I lose her forever? So then I went out to her place and I said, I'm not leaving till you talk to me, one of those. And even then she didn't answer. So then I left an assignment. I said, my assignment, are my assignments completed? I know something's going on because your window, and she left me a thing. She said, Jerm, without it, I've been reassigned, I don't have a grand mission. And so I have to reestablish my membership in the Piracy Guild, and I'm going to go away and return to the the world of the 12 seas, pirate realm or whatever. And I said, wait a second. And then I said, is there a way I could be apprenticed to a pirate apprentice? I think that's what a cat is, but Lady Witchbeard, you might say, are there a lot of witch pirates? Nope, only Lady Witchbeard, so that should answer that question. So then I remembered, though, and how I'd forgotten this, was my method Now, this is probably misguided because, once again, I was putting my needs before other people's needs, which is something I do all the time. And my need to be, an assistant to Lady Witchbeard and, my need to be like, I remember that the last time I got her a mission was through music. And so one of the things I've been doing is like a big fan of like getting old Fisher-Price record players and trying to get them to work again. And I said, okay, I just got to find the right song for Lady Witchbeard. So I'll just sit outside. Hopefully I can do this before she goes away on her assignment. And I think I knew, I don't know, I had like, I was like, okay, I got like a week or something, whatever the date was on the thing. So I started sitting out there and I made a list of all these songs about the sea. And, songs, like I said, okay, like there's Beyond the Sea. I was trying to find sea songs. There's also songs I like, like Ocean Size, The Ocean, Come Sail Away, La Mer. Oh, Ocean Man, that's one of the ones I like by Ween, Octopus's Garden. There's like other versions of Sail Away. There's even a Glee version. There's like Sailing by Christopher Cross. Oh, no, that's the one. No, the Christopher Cross Sailing covered by NSYNC, which has some of the same music from the song Ocean Man. I don't know. There was Castles Made of Sand, Southern Cross, Under the Sea, of course, Yellow Submarine, Ocean Eyes. That was the only song. That's by Billie Eilish. That was the only song that up until she came out, she said, I like this song, Jerm, play it again. So that's a great song anyway. So I said, no problem. But none of them seemed to have the mission that Lady Witchbeard was looking for. And then, I played then I'd play more Billie Eilish on my phone, too. And then I was also using my phone to try to figure out, okay, what am I going to do here? I need to go deeper. But then it was the Commodores that saved me, not Commodore 64, the Commodores. And I should have known it, like a Sail On. And I played that song, and actually I liked it. I like it already, but I said, whoa, but it didn't have I said, okay. Oh, Billy Ocean, that was another one. But anyway, I played Sail On, and then I left, and I came back the next day. That was the last song I played, and there was an assignment from Lady Witchbeard. She said it's something like that. And at first I got caught up in the lyrics, which now I don't even remember because it's not important. I'll just tell you right up front. And I said, well, something maybe about, she said, didn't she say it feels right or something? So I thought about the feel of that song. And I said, what other songs feel like that? And again, this is something you can't do by algorithm. But I kept trying to find, I went through all the recommendations from algorithms, and I said, no, but I got to find something. And, and the other one, some of those songs, I was like, what the heck? Like, what does that song even mean? But so I was listening over and over again to that song, and I said, there is something here. There's something, and I realized it was something like, about that song, and what would lead me in the right direction was that it has a feel from not my childhood, but something like it of like when it was the 1980s, but I was watching a TV show from the 1970s. Let's see. So I started going on music forums and telling people that, and I said, what? And it feels like that. Total? No. Remind you of that? No. Feels a little bit like that. And at some point I thought about Fish, which, is a band I listened to. And then I thought about, and I said, there's something about Captain and Tennille. And that was where I got, and at this point I'm in a fog because we're right up against like 1 or 2 days now. Lady Witchbeard is leaving. And I said, well, Captain and Tennille. So then I started listening to Captain and Tennille, which does feel like watching a 70s TV show in the 80s a little bit, just a little bit. Let's see, what were their songs? We Will Be Together, something else, a couple, it's like, it has a bump, it's that kind of thing. And then that's when it brought me, I said, but Fish didn't cover any Captain Tennille that I knew about. And I was like, oh, Captain and Tennille doesn't sing Ride, Captain, Ride. And at first I thought that was a song because, oh boy, it has the Captain and Tennille, like a little bit of the Commodore's feeling of watching a 1970s TV show in the 80s or the 90s even. With something a little bit funky, like a start of a random game show or something. But I played that song over and over again. And the only thing the Lady Witch would put is like almost there. Because I thought, okay, 73. I thought that was it. It had the mission. But then I said, is this about the Summer of Love? I don't even know. And it must have fallen asleep. Because when I said, what am I going to do now? Like, now we're down to, like the next day, Lady Witchbeard's supposed to be leaving. And it was probably by the power of Carole King that inhabits the algorithms that play my music. But at some point, I know I heard the music of this song, which was in that same realm. And, it would do or something, stuff with that, but with, music and stuff and lyrics. And then it was playing in my dreams, over and over again, because when I woke up, Lady Witchbeard was there with my phone with the song just playing over and over again. And I could hear the lyrics like about a bay, a western, and she said, Germ, this is it. She was sitting there, and I hadn't been in her presence this close in years. And I woke, and it was like I was in a dream. And she said, Germ, this is it. This is our very fine mission, and it's time to go. And I said, well, Lady Witchbeard, I'm going to rest my head just for 5 more minutes and get comfortable here. And she said, that's a good idea. I'm going to take I'm going to take a 20-minute nap, and then we'll go on our mission and get comfortable and snuggle in and take a nice resty poo until we set off on our mission. Good night. All right, I want to thank everybody who became a patron recently. Renita, Gail, and Kristen, thank you. Thanks. And good night. Barry, Ashley, and Lauren, thank you. Thanks, and good night. H. Kelly, and Susan, thanks, and good night. And Newell, John, and Pat, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Aaron, Lucy, and Susan, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Wendy, Brooke, and Molly, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Maggie, Dylan, and David, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Sydney, Toho, and Jay, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Caitlin, Paige, and Katie, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Lexi, Tora, and Nora, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Megan, Selena, and Jim, thanks, and good night. Faye, Arlington, and me, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Petite Frog, Hannah, and Lee, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Beverly, Brent, and Laura, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Max, Melanie, and Shane, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Tabby, and Ray Lee, thank you. Thanks, and good night. And Brady, Danielle, and Madeline, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Thanks, everybody, and for supporting the show. Sleep With Me literally is here as a free show because of people who support the show on Patreon, support sponsors. And we grow as a show by people spreading the word about podcasts in general. I'll have some specifics coming up about our referral program, but just by teaching someone how to listen to podcasts, eventually some people will start listening to Sleep With Me. But the first step is always telling people, hey, let me show you on your phone how to listen to podcasts. Here's a couple of great ones. or what are you interested in? It's totally free to listen to podcasts. I mean, you can choose to support them so they stay free. But like if like you say, look at, do you like puppies? Oh, let's see like some of the popular puppy podcasts. And let's just say puppy podcasts. So anyway, that's it. Thanks everybody. And here's a little bit about our referral program and stuff. All right, everybody. Sleep With Me is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. And, you know, throughout May and June and all summer long, Sleep With Me is proud to join the cause of destigmatizing therapy. So if you're having a tough time with relationships, you're having difficulty sleeping, difficulty meeting your goals, if you're feeling anxious or stressed, BetterHelp counselors can listen and help. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating in under 48 hours, and it's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online. And BetterHelp's therapists have a broad range of expertise that might not be locally available in your area. It's available for clients worldwide, and it's so easy. You can log into your account anytime, send a message to your counselor. You could schedule weekly video, phone, or even live chat sessions. And BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change counselors if needed. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. I've heard from listeners that have utilized it. I know people in my personal life that have utilized BetterHelp, and it's just taking that step. And I know the flexibility and the ease of use with BetterHelp has started to expose more and more people that I have regular contact with to online therapy. So many people have been using BetterHelp that they're recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. And Sleep With Me listeners can get 10% off their first month of online therapy at betterhelp.com/sleepwithme. You have to use our link to get that discount. That's betterhelp.com/sleepwithme. BetterHelp. That's BetterHelp.com/sleepwithme. That's right, everybody. BetterHelp. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about Bombas Socks, the socks on my feet right now. And I got to tell you, I love running in my Bombas Performance socks. I run 3 or 4 days a week, and I've been looking for socks that are comfortable and supportive, and that is what Bombas Performance socks do. They've taken all the amazing innovations that make Bombas the most comfortable socks you've ever worn, and they added their special Hex Tech performance technology. Bombas Performance socks are stitched with special moisture-wicking yarn and temperature-regulating vents that allow cool air to flow in and prevent overheating. Oh boy, do they feel good on my feet when I'm hitting 4, 5, 6, 7 miles. They come with a pillow-like tab to save you from blisters, stay-up technology, a special arch-hugging system, and an extra layer of cushiony comfort on the bottom for the perfect amount of support. They come in different styles for every sport with specific design features to help you optimize performance and keep you comfortable no matter what you're doing. And like all their socks, for every pair of Bombas Performance socks you buy, they donate a pair to someone in need. They've donated over 45 million pairs so far. So whether you're walking around your home Zoom office or you're going for a run, you're going for a hike, you're walking around a theme park or something, get yourself some Bombas Performance socks. They will fit your need. Oh boy, is that the cushion under my feet. Go to bombas.com/sleep today and get 20% off your first order. That's Bombas, BOMBAS.com/sleep for 20% off. Go to bombas.com/sleep. Make sure to use that link so you get the discount and, you know, they know we sent you there. That's bombas.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, before the episode, or after that, I'm here after the episode saying, hey, if you get a lot out of the podcast and you say, well, Scoots, I want a free way to support the show. A free way to support the podcast is to go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. You can earn cool audio rewards. You could even win a set of sleep phones. But it's just a great way to support the show. Bring new listeners on. You just share your special link on social media and you get new people to sign up for the show. It's a huge help for the podcast. podcast, and you get some sweet rewards. It's sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/REFER. Thanks, everybody, and good night.